Hey everybody, it's Nick here, and I did have an unboxing video for you, and then for some reason the video just kind of stopped recording, and then I don't even see the video file on here. Oh, there it is. Well, I don't know why it just abruptly stopped recording, so um, I think part of it was because my computer went to screensaver mode. I think that probably like automatically stopped it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you guys. I didn't unbox everything yet. I just got everything out of the box, which is good because this is a huge thing that I got in here. So um, I guess I'll just show you. It's mostly just LPs. There's one game and I think a couple CDs, but most of it's just LPs that I ordered. So bear with me on that. I guess I might as well show you guys some couple records that I bought recently. Besides that, which is I've been getting into Bobby Sherman because bubblegum pop and all that. So it's easy come, easy go. They had it at the local record store and for $4. Couldn't complain. Like I said, I can actually put these LPs and turn them into MP3, so that's awesome. I also got the Partridge Family Sound Magazine. This is another good one. I've only heard it like that one time though. That's all I've had time to listen to it for. So bear with me. And speaking of bears, this is the Sugar Bears "You Are the One." This is kind of like their magnum opus. It really reminds me of Peggy Sue by Buddy Holly, if you've ever heard that before. And then I got another single here, which is "Brand New Key" by Melanie. By the way, "Someone Like You" is the other side of that Sugar Bears record. The other side of this one is called "Some Say I Got Devil." So I'm not familiar with the whole album. I only know the one song. It's the Combine Harvester, the parody. Um, I guess you could say, sorry, I guess you could say this album's slightly video game related. Deodato 2. There's a song on here called Super Strut, and I first heard that in Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Really great song, and he's a pretty good artist, and I think he's still around to this day. Umir Deodato. He's a Brazilian composer and arranger and everything. By the way, rest in peace, Chuck Norris. I'd make a joke about his death or how he's not dead or something, but I can't think of anything clever, and I'm sure someone's come up with a better joke than me, so I'm not even going to bother. Sorry. And then we got "I Saw the Light" by the Mike Curb Congregation. Again, Mike Curb was was the musical director of the Chattanooga Cats, so that's how I discovered their work. They're best known for two songs. One is called "Sweet Gingerbread Man" and the other one's called "Burning Bridges." So check them out if you like. It's kind of like a gospel band, but it's a little like more poppy. And I've actually thought about doing that on my own as well. So we'll see how that works out. Um, I'm just gonna put those here. Hopefully they don't move and mess up the camera angle, but we'll see. Okay, so like I said, I didn't unbox everything. I just unboxed all the records that I got. So I'll show you guys what I got one by one. So we got Bobby Sherman. This is his first album. In the Japanese, now in the U.S., this is just called Bobby Sherman. There's no title. It's a self-titled LP. The Japanese version, based on this OVI, though, does retitle it a bit. It's called Bobby Sherman no Suteki na Sekai, which is kind of like Bobby Sherman's Wonderful World, or you could even think of it as the Wonderful World of Bobby Sherman. So this is a good album. There's a song on here called Seattle, which is awesome, or in Japanese you would pronounce it as Shiatoru. Shiatoru. There we go. And it's a great song. Don't get me wrong, but it's a complete lie. The sky's not the bluest blue, or whatever they say. And the hills, okay, they're right about the hills being the greenest green because we're like almost number one in the country for marijuana, so you could say that. And a beautiful child growing up free and wild. Well, if you've been to Seattle, there's a lot of people on the streets that act like children, and they definitely act free and wild, so I'm not even going to go there. Anyways, moving on. This is a group I just started getting into, because again, being into bubblegum pop, that's why I started listening to Bobby Sherman. Then we got the Fifth Dimension's Up, Up, and Away. I actually just bought a because the local record store actually is having some difficulties right now, so I'm trying to support them in any way I can, especially because um, their prices are really good. Um, but anyways, so this is they did this song though, "Up Up and Away," and I originally heard it by the Sunshine Company. I think they were the first ones to record it, but the Fifth Dimension's the first band to actually like popularize the song. So they're both really good versions though. And this is one instance where the Japanese cover art does differ. It's kind of like video games. Sometimes the Japanese cover art can differ from the original release, or the U.S. release, I should say. And the U.S. version looks pretty similar, except they're inside of a hot air balloon, you know, in line with the lyrics of the song. The first time I heard the song, like I said, the Sunshine Company version, I heard the intro and I'm like, this has got to be Jimmy Webb who composed this, because it sounds just like the bridge from MacArthur Park. And sure enough, it was. So it's pretty funny. Next one. This is a Japanese version of Jimmy Buffett's Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes. I should point out, maybe with the exception of that Fifth Dimension one, a lot of these albums never got a Japanese CD release. They were only released in Japan in LP form, which is one reason why I get these. And I'm not really that familiar with this music. I like Margaritaville. I did a cover of it because I loved this restaurant in Vegas so much, and of course now that's gone. That's such a shame. The past couple times I've been to Vegas, I just kind of walk by there and just I get sad. I think of what a great restaurant that was, and I know that's not the only Margaritaville there is, but the older ones are like way far away, and I have basically no chance of ever going to those, at least in the near future. So I do find it interesting. Sometimes they put the LPs outside of the cardboard. I'm guessing that is a beneficial thing since I see it so often, but interesting. This is one that I already own. This is one of my favorite albums, Everything's Archie by the Archies. Now, so you might ask, well, wait, you bought the LP before from Japan, why would you buy a second copy? Well, the whole thing sounded great, but the one song, which happens to be my most favorite, Feeling So Good, I'm not going to say the subtitle because it sounds corny, but there's like, during the first chorus, there's like this audio glitch that kind of goes on. So I was actually wondering, because this is such an obscure album, I was wondering if the copy I had, the first copy I got, wasn't good or something. You know, it looked in pristine condition. I really don't think anything was wrong with it, or maybe there was, and this one will play it back correctly. So everything else on the album sounded perfectly fine. It's that one little part in my favorite song on the album that sounded kind of weird. So I can't explain it. It kind of gets like, but the sound kind of gets muffled for a few seconds, and then it gradually goes back to being decent. And you know, I played it twice or two different times on my turntable, and it did that. So I don't think it's the turntable. I think it's the record, or it could be that's just the way they had it sound, or maybe that was an audio glitch that got overlooked during the mixing process. I don't know. Anyway, next one we got is the Partridge Family album. Again, different, completely different from the U.S. version, which is just like a blank, like red maroonish kind of cover with gold text for the Partridge Family album. And this one has I Think I Love You. Well, what's funny is they, at least on the back, they kind of make David Cassie the big deal, not really Shirley Jones. So now I haven't really seen the show, and I know Danny Bonaducci lives in Seattle, or he did live in Seattle as a radio host. I was actually first exposed to him as a commentator on Smoking Gun World's Dumbest Criminals, and he seems like a pretty cool guy. He's on Cameo. I might get a video from him for my birthday or something. And well, there's something else I was going to say, and of course now I can't think about it, but it's a good album, and I'm looking forward to listening to this. Next one. There's another one. Here Comes Bobby. This, I believe, was the second album. And once again, the Japanese title's the same as the first one. Bobby-sama no Suteki na Sekai. But here it says Daitushu, which is like the second, you know, in like a series or whatever. So at least they added that little part there to let you know that it's not the first album. So it's funny because I bought that first album, the US version, from the local record store, and then I bought a copy of this from the local record store, and I checked both records, they looked fine. And then I took it home and started playing it, the Here Comes Bobby album, and I'm hearing the song from the first album. And I look at the label on there, and it turns out it was the first album. Someone put it in this album, and it's like, so I bought another copy because it was only $3. It was a super cheap record, and I'm the guy that runs the place. He is such a nice guy. Like, it's almost as if Mr. Rogers ran a record store, and he's like, you know, hey, if anything goes wrong, you don't have to show a receipt or anything. I will just refund you. You know, I trust you. And that's like, but I'm not going to do that. I mean, the store's in financial difficulty, and it was only a few bucks. Like, I'm not going to complain about a few bucks. So anyways, the other stuff that I didn't get to unboxing the first take. Here we go. I think I told you guys there is one game in here, and here it is. So sorry if I got to the good part already. And I don't even remember. Oh, well, there's... Okay, good. There's Hiragan on the title, or on the box, so I can read it out to you. This is a pretty tricky game to find, so at least a decently priced version of. So I bought this one. It's not perfect. The manual's got like a rip or whatever, but Uchi Iwai... I can't even remember how to say the thing. Something puzzle game. So this is actually a re-release of the game Splits. Now, I own that game complete in box, both the US and Japanese versions. The Japanese version is called Splitsu Niga Oe 15 game, or 15 caricature game, whatever. Well, unfortunately, my Japanese copy of Splits, I accidentally stepped on the cartridge one day and broke it. And I do plan on getting another copy, but it's exactly the same as the European version, which is why I haven't really made an effort. But this version is unique in the fact that it's the same exact game, except the puzzles have all been changed to reflect this anime. And I can't really find much gameplay footage of it online. I couldn't even find a game ROM, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. It's a fun game to play if you're just, you know... When I first played it, I thought it would be impossible, but I'm at that point now where I can beat this game in like 40 minutes without any problems, and sometimes without losing a single life. So it actually gets to be one of those games that's like just too easy, but I like games like that, because I can pop it in if I need to pass some time and know that I'm not going to have a terribly difficult time with it or get frustrated. So that's cool. Alright, what's next here? Okay, not the only LP that I got. I got some singles. I forgot about that. So this one is for the cufflinks, when Julie comes around, or Julie wa koibito, so Julie is my love, or whatever. Koibito is like a lover, you know? I think it should have said Julie wa koibito no, or Julie wa boku no koibito, but whatever, it is what it is. And I don't know what the other side has on it, so let me check. Ugh. Like I said, that's the cool thing. I could put these on MP3 since they weren't released on CD, and the song is on CD and it's on streaming platforms because it's part of the Tracy album. I'm talking about the single itself. And these people here were not the actual... So, the Cufflinks were a band formed of session musicians on the East Coast, like, known as, like, the Brill Building. It's kind of like the East Coast equivalent to the Wrecking Crew. And, but they did put together a touring band, which is who these people are. And Joey Cord, this guy right here, he was the lead singer. And he actually did sing on some of the songs on the second album. So, I was trying for a long time to figure out who was the actual session bassist. And I believe I found out it was Russ Savakis, because there's no, like, actual source for that, but I really familiarized, like, when I started hearing stuff that he happened to be on, like the Monkey stuff, or the John Denver Take Me to Tomorrow album, I could tell it was him because his musical DNA is all over that. You get to know, like, his bass has a unique style, kind of sounds like a fretless, and then on top of that, he does like little these weird slide things. But basically, like, you get a picture of what their work sounds like. You know, if they play on something, you can. It's kind of like when you hear a singer's voice on the radio, and we're like, oh, I know who that is. Well, the same could go with player and their instrument. But anyways, Sally Ann, You're Such a Pretty Baby is the other side, and this thing looks pretty good. Looks just a bit dirty, but like that's the worst I could say about it. And there are lyrics on here too, on the back, but in English. They didn't bother translating it. So anyway, I'm gonna put that back if I can. I gotta figure out how to get this back in here. Ah, like this. Okay, good. Ah, well, hang on. There we go. This is the thing it goes in. All right. So yeah, it's a pretty cool. It's a great group. Again, bubblegum pop. So if you're not into soft rock or whatever from the late '60s, early '70s, might want to skip it. But if you do like that stuff, same with like that's the reason why I got into the Partridge Family, because I kept hearing about them as far as being like a great bubblegum rock, bubblegum pop group. So I listened to them finally, and it's like, yeah, I Think I Love You is a really fun song to play on the bass and everything. So yeah, I like them. They're pretty good. I think I told people I saw David Cassidy's half brother Sean Cassidy on February 5th, and it was a pretty good show. We did pay for me and my father, like, VIP access, but it wasn't really VIP. It was more like you get to do a Q&A with them, like, before the show starts. So, and we did get a couple photos taken, but the studio or the venue took the photos. They wouldn't let us do it, so that kind of sucked. But speaking of the Partridge Family, that's what I got here. This is a CD, like a greatest hits CD. And I'm trying to get all it out. Okay. So this is the best of the Partridge Family, and I thought this one had lyrics translated. That would be cool if it did. And 2005. So this isn't. Wow, this album's like 21 years old. It's old enough to drink. Man. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna guess this is a CD because it feels a little heavy. Ah, yep. I kind of figured it was going to be this one. This is, if I can get it out here. This is Navy Blue by Diane Renee. And I saw her as a friend on suggestion on Facebook, and she had this cover as her profile picture. Just kind of looked intriguing. So I listened to some of the album, and I actually kind of liked it. And I did ask her who played the bass on it, but she said she actually didn't work with the session players. But she did tell me that it was recorded at, I can't remember the name of it, but there was like some hotel in New York or whatever where they recorded that. So that's pretty interesting. But now that I think about it, like those conference rooms would probably have some great acoustics to them. Maybe I should do that someday, record an album inside a hotel. That would be kind of interesting. That's kind of what Liz Damon's Orient Express did. They're another group that I like, even if all they did was covers. Anyways, alright, we're almost done here. Got one more thing after this. And yeah, this is... Oh, weird. They gave me a little pamphlet thing. That's kind of cool. February 2026. So that's kind of cool, too. Interesting. But this is an album that I've been trying to get for a while, too. And, you know, it's just me to prefer artists' more obscure albums over their more popular albums, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But this is Keith's 98.6 Degrees, of course, and Ain't Gonna Lie. That's, it looks like a single, but this is an album, and I think, yeah, there's 2 bonus tracks on here, which is cool. And he did another album called, Out of Crank, which I have the Japanese version of as well. And that one bombed. It didn't go anywhere. But 98.6 was a pretty big hit when he did it, and I got that album, or both those albums originally, because I found out Joe Mack was the bassist on there, so why not? In fact, I transcribed all of the Out of Crank album. And I actually did message Keith on Facebook. He goes now by Baza Kiefer. And, I told him, hey, I really liked your music, and thank you for recording it. And he actually responded. He's like, oh, thanks, Nick. It's like, oh, that was pretty cool. So, I'm looking forward to hearing that one. And finally, what do we got here? Oh yeah, this is a movie. I forgot, I had a movie. I haven't got any, by the way, I haven't bought anything on buy in like several months. But this is the first one I've got this year, so it took a quarter of a way through the year to finally get something, right? Anyway, this is the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore in it. So, and it has the Japanese dub, which is why I buy these. Besides just the entertainment of hearing them sound like anime characters, because they are voiced by anime voice actors naturally. But it's also there's an educational component to it, because people think it's kind of weird, like, oh, why do you buy the Japanese versions? Well, part of it is I can read Japanese pretty good to a certain extent, even kanji. Even if I can't pronounce the kanji, I can usually decipher what it means or what it has to do with. But my difficulty is the talking, because I think it's kind of like when I speak English, or anyone else or whatever, when they speak their native language, they tend to drop vowels or consonants or whatever. So it could be kind of hard to understand some of that stuff. So I've been learning, that's how I've been learning, speaking Japanese, actually audibly speaking Japanese, is by watching Japanese dubs, which I haven't done in a long time, but this will be an interesting movie to watch. So thank you guys so much for your support. I'm glad you guys are liking the playthroughs. Sorry if there's a couple days where I don't upload anything. Sometimes it's just I get up and I go to work. I don't really have time to do much. So I thank you guys for your understanding. That's why I've been doing 2 different playthroughs, and eventually I want to get to Lands of Lorien and play through that, because I soft-locked myself the first time. People saw, I uploaded the videos, then I deleted all of them when I found out I got soft-locked. So, it's a long story. I'll explain it when I play through the game again. So maybe this year I'll finally get around to it. But again, pray for me for my tests coming up this week at work, and so I can get that promotion. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks for the support. God bless, and peace out. Have a good one. You guys are awesome.